the American people have a desire to see the world through rose-colored glasses, and they tend to want to think that everyone is equal. America was founded on the idea that one class would not be greater than another class. But while America did away with royalty and nobility, it allowed its own class of robber barons to build industry, to build railways, to build communications and energy supply, to build transportation as it is known today. And it allowed large companies to become the robber barons and the classless, moneyed class, while all along saying there shall be no class divisions. But in this process, politics has always been a growing and evolving and changing part of society. And there has always been a constitutional conflict and pull against the power of the federal government and the power of the states. And the American people, viewing all of this, have continued to say, but we are a people of equals, a nation undivided. And yet there has become a situation where those with money or power are more able to influence others and to have access to the new media, and thus continue to promote a hereditary form of power that was not expected by the founders of America. The founders of America did not expect to see a President Bush I, a President Bush II, followed by a President Bush III. They did not expect to see a family of Clintonites ruling successively. No, the founders expected to see their progression of growth amongst the various people and amongst the various ideals, be able to foment up and keep society fresh and new, rather than stagnated by an upper crust of royalty. The whole reason for leaving the system of royalty and nobility was not to do away with the nobility of the human spirit, but to recognize the nobility in all humans, so all could have a chance to rise to the top. But now, the media is especially avidly seeking to make a pseudo-nobility of those families who have some power, so they can generate news stories, and thus they are creating an environment in which families of power gain more power and more wealth, and the division becomes greater as lobbyists influence Washington, and laws become ever more lopsided to allow companies to gain wealth while individuals lose their spending power. This was not intended by the founders of the nation. They looked for people like Ronald Reagan, who would come from being a humble lifeguard and an actor, and then bring new ideals to the country. They looked people like Ronald Reagan, who could look at a heckler and say, "Shut up." They looked for people like Chris Christie, who could look at a heckler and say, "Shut up." I am a big man with big ideals, and just because I come from the common folk does not mean the press has the right to write me off. But that is what is happening. While that same press and the money and power established and entrenched wants to simply grab a known family. Grab a known family and run with it. But we tell you this and we tell you this now. It is not happening. That which the press wants does not mean that the American people are so foolish that they do not see the potential of a new hierarchy and a new nobility, and it will not be allowed. The American people are a whole lot smarter than the news media, the continual 24-hour news media, with all of its silly little sound bites, gives them credit for. The American people have some brains. And there will be change. If you think this election gave you a little upheaval, wait. Just wait. Because you do not even have a clue who you will be voting for in 2 years. The press babbles on telling you who will be the most likely candidate when they do not know. They are not gods, and they do not have genies whispering in their ears. The angels do not speak to them, and they do not have a clue about what they are talking about. They are almost as lost as those who live inside the Washington bubble. And that is lost indeed. We leave you with blessings and with peace. Peace be with you.